Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another HD broadcast, and today we're going to be watching a battle unfold here on Scrap Station, and the players are going to be Liquid Jinro, also known as Frozen Arbiter, one of the top tier Terran players who was actually invited to compete in the HDH Invitational #1 as well. So most of you guys are familiar with Jinro, going to be spawning here as the yellow Terran. And his opponent on the other side of the map is going to be Dimaga, who some of you guys should recognize, an old school veteran name, household name if you will, from the old days of Brood War. And I do believe I casted a game of him playing against Pain User as well. He is a top tier Zerg. So this is going to be a Zerg versus Terran on Scrap Station. And I just want to say this map is, because the map is so close by air, oftentimes you see the players opting to go for some kind of a fast Muta build or fast Viking build. We may see that today, or we may just see Jinro, or Dimaga, try to go for a fast expand and then play it out economically. I'm really interested to see what's going to happen, especially after casting that last game on Scrap Station, really showing that this map does have the potential to bring out the best in everybody, and so we'll see how this game unfolds. Jinro here going to be throwing his barracks down at the front door, and looks like he's going to be getting a relatively fast gas as well, so could possibly be some kind of a Reaper opening, or he could just be throwing down a second factory right after this barracks as well. One more SCV coming out for scouting purposes, rolling down that ramp right there. Meanwhile, to Dimaga's natural expansion, he is going to be grabbing a fast expand himself. Does not have a spawning pool yet, so he went for a 15 hatch before going for pool, so he is going to be vulnerable in the first couple of seconds. But I don't know if that's going to be an issue. There is going to be most likely a tech lab going down on this barracks, so we'll keep an eye out for what Jinro's strategy is going to be here as he's approaching his SCV towards the natural expansion of Dimaga's base. Dimaga here grabbing a spawning pool and a gas down after that hatchery, and the SCV does scout out the fast expand for Dimaga. Meanwhile, back at Jinro's base, does not have a tech lab going down on the barracks, so he is going to be opening with a factory right after this barracks. And could we be seeing some kind of a 1-1-1 opening, the factory and the barracks being placed at the front door, just so no baneling bust can happen, as you guys already know about that build order. And a second refinery going down as well. So Jinro most likely here going to be opening one barracks, one factory, one starport. That's why he's getting all this extra gas in the beginning. A very, very powerful opening. As I said before, getting that fast air out on this map is so deadly. If you can get Vikings into the Zerg base, just traversing across this narrow airway, and then get those Vikings and start harassing those overlords. Meanwhile, an SCV and a Marine making their way across the map. The Zergling's going to come out and pop off that SCV. Speed being researched as well. Income tab showing both players relatively even in the economy. We have a reactor coming down on the barracks, and then we do have the starport coming out as well. Nice blockade here from Jinro, which is going to make it essentially impossible for any units to come in. Factory going to swap onto the reactor. Going to see some Hellions coming out here, and the barracks going to complete that wall off yet again. Marine getting taken out to the gold expansion. Looks like Dimaga has map control for now, and his economy is relatively even to Jinro's. Not really saturating that natural, could use a little Maynard action there, but what he should be really concerned about is this starport, and he does have the Zergling up here. He sees what he wants to see. Two Hellions going to pop out of that factory right there, and this is a very, very nice 1-1-1 opening from Jinro, making use of all of his add-ons. Look at that. Now the starport is going to swap onto the reactor to start pumping out dual Vikings, and this could be a very, very deadly attack for Jinro. He's going to even get his Hellions in here right now, and does Dimaga have enough to deal with these Hellions? He is trying to get a spine crawler up on this front door right here, which is going to try to be the stop sign of these Hellions, but the Hellions not going to heed that sign and going to run right through and start burning away a couple of these Zerglings. All the Zerglings getting taken out, but the speed kicks in, more Zerglings morphing out, and that should be enough to contain the Hellion harass. Nice try from Jinro here, who obviously has practiced this build order many a time, but now here come the Vikings. And it's up to Dimaga to be reactionary like all good Zerg players are, absorb the attacks, absorb the abuse until you can get up to layer, and then start bringing out the pain onto the Terran player yourself. Zerglings making their way across the map. Looks like Jinro has already popped off one Overlord with his Viking, which is going to set back Dimaga just a little bit here. Jinro's front door is not really exposed or weak at all to these Zerglings. All it takes is some SCVs to repair, and that is not going to work at all for Dimaga as the Viking lands as well. And Jinro is looking like he's in a strong position, also grabbing a command center, so he's looking to take this island expansion as well. And with the Vikings on the map, he can really deny the Overlord scouting, which is going to make it impossible for Dimaga to attack that island expansion should he decide to grab it. Looks like the queen here could go down to these two Vikings. Oh, it's going to be real close, and this Viking is going to go down. A Viking for a queen. Not sure if that's the best of trades. Jinro and Dimaga are going to swap again, and it looks like Jinro is going to take the second queen down, so that's not a bad exchange there. And meanwhile, two more Vikings landing to the main base as well. Going to pop off several of these drones who are mining the minerals and the gas. The queen desperately trying to come in to deal with this, and we do have 6 Hydralisks on the way. Once those Hydras morph in, they will be able to deal with these Vikings. Looks like the ones at the natural have already been taken care of, but the Vikings at the main are continuing to just turn these drones to the creep and just grind them away. But it looks like finally Zerglings and Hydra's going to come in and push the Viking harass away. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Jinro just abusing the close map distance, is continuing to keep that Viking harass on, controlling the air with his superior air forces, and now he's going to land this command center at the island expansion as well. And with those Vikings, he can really deny the Overlords, deny drops, deny mutas. He can safely take this island expansion because right now the Zerg Air Force for Dimaga is nil. He has no Royal Air Force. Everything he has is on the ground, and really he's still trying to play catch up. His economy is lower than Jinro's right now because he's lost so many drones, and he is, he's not even saturated at the natural. He doesn't even have upgrades for his Hydras. He's looking to be a little bit behind here, and he's definitely got some catching up to do. Looks like we have more Vikings coming in here for Jinro towards the natural. Going to land all 3 of these down. And meanwhile, also trying to keep a 2-pronged attack going on to the north as well. Dimaga forced to divide his attention, but it looks like he does have some Hydras here. The queen gets away just barely, and all the Vikings going to get taken out, or at least 2 of them along with 2 Hydras, so not a bad exchange there for Dimaga, who is starting to show his defensive face, is starting to hold off the continual Terran harass, and this is where that double expand for Dimaga really kicks in. He's going to start to saturate. His economy is going to really start to pick up. But Jinro, with that map control, is also picking up his own island expansion, as mentioned before, and using the mules to really pick up his economy. Also getting another command center, interested in grabbing his own natural, and is now starting to transition into what seems to be some siege mech here. Also has siege tech already completed and has siege tanks on the ground ready to roll out. So he's looking to be in a strong position with those siege tanks against those Hydralisks, and Dimaga's going to have to do something. He's going to have to switch into a more Ling Muta build or Ling Infestor build to deal with those siege tanks, and I really don't think Hydras are the way to go against tanks in siege mode. They just obliterate Hydralisks. No matter what position you're in. Dimaga here grabbing the evolution chambers to try to get some upgrades for his Hydras. Obviously, he's also spreading the creep out very nicely here. One route of creep down to the south and one popping over beyond the rocks. So he's been using his overlords to get that vision and tumor even beyond the rocks, and he's almost making his way to the Terran natural as well. We have 3 Vikings coming in towards the south. We have Melee and Ground Carapace upgrading for Dimaga, so he's been reading my mind, knowing that Hydralisks are not the way to go. Instead, going to get, obviously, just mass Zergling, and with Infestors, that is the way to deal with siege tanks and Terran mech in general.